New electric guitar.
As soon as the electric guitar appeared in the music world, musicians, as they usually do, got ignited with a fire of curiosity and soon began to experiment with amplifiers, microphones, pickups, and all this in order to find their own individual sound, their own voice in a tonal world.
I have to do a lot of practicing before I start on try to do, just do tunes.
From the early days of blues, continuing with famous soft tones of B.B. King, to contemporary film score composers such as Ennio Morricone or Hans Zimmer, the search and the finding of one's individual voice has become the driving force behind many, many musicians. And finding your own tone and voice is pretty hard, because great tone isn't just about plugging into the right amp or grabbing a fancy pedal. It's a mix of good guitar with the right pickups, a right amp, effects, and maybe most importantly, the way you touch the string. It's like alchemy, a bit of science and a bit of magic. But before guitars, amplifiers, or microphones became technically complex, it all started with the humble beginnings of blues. In the early 1900s, down in the American South, music was not polished. It was more personal. Folks would gather with whatever instruments they had, guitar, harmonicas, or maybe just a voice and a clap. And the setup was simple. One man, one guitar, and a spirit of music. And that is where a legend like Robert Johnson was born.
Whenever I listen to Robert Johnson's music, I think he's probably the prime example of how America was back in those times.
He didn't live long, but the music he left behind still echoes today. Songs like Crossroad Blues or Sweet Home Chicago. That stuff was not recorded in fancy studios. He used a cheap acoustic guitar and recorded in a corner of a Texas hotel room. He had no amps or mics like we know them today, but the tone he had, it was ghostly, it was raw and timeless. And then came electricity, and things got really loud. Jump to the 40s and the 50s, and suddenly the blues wasn't just a feeling, it had power. Guys like Muddy Waters came out swinging with electric guitars and a full band behind them.
Muddy was playing when I was plowing. Amused, that is.
Muddy kind of stomped the blues, cranked it up, and made heads turn. He basically built the bridge between acoustic blues and rock and roll. The thirst for more character and loudness in tone got players experimenting, and that's how distortion was born. By the mid-50s, the musicians started to get curious what amps could really do if pushed past its limits. One really curious guitarist was Link Wray. This instrumental track called Rumble, it was gritty, menacing, and almost revolutionary.
If it were not for Link Wray, you wouldn't have metal, you wouldn't have punk, you wouldn't have the garage type sound that you hear now. And I think, to an extent, that's probably true. You talk about the driving chord sounds, and that goes back to Rumble.
It featured power chords, feedback, and distortion way before it became in fashion. He stabbed holes in his amps with a knife to get that nasty, broken up sound, and right then and there, the rock guitar was officially born.
So it's really you at last. How are you?
All of this became a perfect ground for the emergence of one man who would elevate the new sound of rock to cosmic heights.
He was playing crunchy chords with a distorted sound, and when he went into a solo, it just ripped the top of your head off.
Jimi Hendrix came out a sonic wizard. And he did not just play the Stratocaster, he possessed it. Or maybe the guitar possessed him.
When the lights went on, he came aglow, and man, he would set about doing things with that guitar that were just otherworldly.
And his tone, it was like controlled chaos. He often ran it through a Voxwa, a fuzz face, and a 100-watt Marshall, and somehow made it sing like a vocalist with a cosmic spirit.
We quickly came to learn that here was a guy that was doing things with the Fender Stratocaster guitar that was turning it inside out in ways the inventors never even imagined.
Despite his short life, Jimmy's sound became the leitmotif of the entire 60s. As time went by, the cosmic tone of the 60s finally set its foot back on the earth, and in the 80s, it became muscular and full of raw power.
This thing called Pride and Joy. Pride and Joy. You give me some of it.
I remember thinking, I have to find out before the day is over who that guitar player is. While in a car, listening to the radio, where I've stopped the car, pulled over and listened and thought, I've got to find out before the end of the day. Not, sooner or later, but I have to know now who that is.
The first people that I really remember listening to, B.B. King, Albert King, Buddy Guy.
I was picking up on those feelings and that sound and carrying it out.
His hand looked like a hummingbird. I mean, it was moving so fast that I couldn't make the fingers out. And the studio was blown away by Stevie. We're sitting there trying to concentrate on playing and singing and things, and I could see them out of the corner of my eye, almost like a child looking into a candy shop.
It's like for every emotion he had some way to express that musically.
Yeah, I guess it's, it's just mean, and it sounds like a rude mood,
And then, the electric guitar became cinematic. Even in places you wouldn't expect, guitar tone shows up. And let's not forget Ennio Morricone, who would use electric guitars with their cutting, expressive sound that can slice right through an orchestra.
Molto rigoroso, cercava di scoprire dei suoni, questa chitarra che doveva veramente diventare drammatica al massimo, e secondo lui il suono di questa chitarra doveva essere molto molto grande, e siamo stati parecchio tempo lì a cercare di... io suonavo la chitarra normalmente, Ennio no, è troppo poco, allora no, ancora, non riuscivo.
At the end of the day, every great guitarist is on the same quest. To find a sound that sounds like them. It's how people recognize you're playing before they even know your name. Because in some ways, the search for tone is the search for selfhood, of who you really are.